Have you ever walked into like a negotiation and wished you had the perfect words to sound super confident in English?
Oh, absolutely. It's like so crucial in the business world.
Well, today we are equipping you with exactly those words, those power phrases, to navigate any deal like a pro.
Yeah, because how you say something can be just as important as, the actual content of what you're saying.
Right. It's giving, like linguistic strategy.
Yes. Clarity, precision, and that subtle art of using the right word at the right time to really get your point across.
So it's like we're building a toolbox, but for language.
Exactly. And today we're focusing on those essential tools for nailing any negotiation.
I love that. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Where do we even begin when it comes to negotiation vocabulary?
Well, I think it's got to be with those foundational terms. You'll hear these in pretty much any negotiation, regardless of the industry, the context, anything. Think about the word alternatives, for example.
Alternatives. Okay, so like having other options, right?
Yeah. Yes, but it's more than just having them. It's about presenting them strategically. So instead of saying, I want a raise, you could say, I'm exploring alternatives, like maybe additional vacation time or a flexible work arrangement.
Oh, that's good. So it's
Yeah.
not a demand, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Alternatives.
Yeah.
That's going straight into my toolbox. What about arbitration? Now, that one sounds a little more, I don't know, legal.
Yeah, it does, and for a good reason. Think of it as like the tiebreaker word.
Okay.
It comes into play when you and the other party just can't agree, so you need a neutral third party, someone who's not involved, to step in and make a decision that's binding for both sides.
Ah, so like a mediator.
Yeah.
Like if you and a friend can't decide where to eat, you bring in another friend to be the deciding vote.
Perfect example. And then there's bargaining. I'm sure you've heard that one before.
Oh yeah, bargaining. Who doesn't love a good bargain? But how does it apply in a more formal, like, business setting?
It's all about finding that sweet spot where everyone feels like they got something out of the deal.
Right, it's about finding that win-win. I love that. Okay, what about bottom line? Now, that's a term you don't mess around with.
Exactly. Your bottom line is your non-negotiable. It's that point where you're ready to walk away if you don't get it. When you say, this is my bottom line, you are drawing a line in the sand.
It's about setting those clear boundaries from the beginning. Now, speaking of setting things straight, how does compensate fit into all of this? I feel like it usually involves money, but it doesn't always have to be about that, right?
You got it. It's about making things right, whether it's money, resources, or even an apology.
Oh, interesting.
Like, let's say a project deadline gets pushed back. You might ask to be compensated with extra time off later.
Okay, so it's about restoring balance, finding a way to make up for any changes or inconveniences. Got it. So we've got alternatives, arbitration, bargaining, bottom line, compensate, feeling good. How about we add comply to that list?
Oh, comply. Excellent one. That's all about agreement. It means you're willing to go along with something. So, in a negotiation, when you reach a point where you're happy and you're ready to agree to the terms being discussed, you are complying with the request.
Okay, got it. So to use it in a sentence, I might say, after careful consideration, I'm happy to comply with your proposal.
Exactly.
See?
I'm a natural.
You are. You're picking this up so quickly.
Well, I have a great teacher. All right, let's keep this vocabulary train going. How about we talk about compromise? I feel like you can't reach an agreement without a little compromise.
100%. Compromise is the bridge between two different points of view, right? It's that willingness to give a little, to get a little.
Which often involves making concessions.
Exactly.
Right.
A concession is something you're willing to give up to move the negotiation forward. Like, say you want to buy a car, the seller wants to sell it, but you disagree on the price.
Classic negotiation scenario. Happens all the time.
Right. So you agree to their asking price, but only if they include those fancy heated seats. Oh, I see. So you're making a concession by agreeing to the price, but you're getting something in return.
Exactly. It's a win-win. And all of this ties into this concept of conflict resolution.
Conflict resolution. Okay, now that sounds official. Is that just a fancy way of saying working things out?
It's a bit more than that. It's really about the processes, the strategies we use to solve disagreements constructively, understanding each other's views, finding that common ground, and ultimately coming to a solution that everyone can live with.
Okay, so it's not just about ending the conflict, it's about ending it well. So you don't just sweep it under the rug, right? You actually resolve it in a way that's productive and ideally beneficial for everyone involved. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, what about the word confront? That one always feels a bit, I don't know, aggressive to me.
Yeah, confront definitely has that reputation, but it doesn't have to be a scary word. It's simply about addressing issues head on.
Okay.
Now, of course, there's a right way and a wrong way to confront someone. You don't want to be aggressive, accusatory.
Right. So instead of saying you're wrong, I could say something like, hey, I see things a little differently. Could
Yeah.
we talk about that?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
being assertive but respectful. You're not shying away from the issue, but you're approaching it with a collaborative mindset.
Okay. So confrontation can be a good thing.
Yeah,
It's all about how you approach it.
got it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about a word that sounds much more harmonious. Consensus.
Ah, consensus. Yes. This is like the holy grail of negotiations.
Okay.
It means